It's time for today's Face-Off on Fox Soul. Challengers Quanell X and Big Angry Adams, ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Face-Off on Fox Soul starts right now.
Thank you. How are you? Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that.
In this round, here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
So Quanell, it's not the portion of his interview that's getting the most attention, and we'll play that in a little bit, but that was the beginning of Donald Trump's interview at the National Association of Black Journalists in Chicago, I believe, where he was initially told, and he said that on the stage, that both him and his opponent would both be there. Kamala Harris declined to go, did not show up. He went into what he had to have been aware was going to be an incredibly hostile territory. And he sat down to have a discussion with him. He is absolutely right that typically when you have a former president or a presidential candidate sit down, there's a lot more cordiality at the beginning. And what Democrats get all the time is just softballs, right? There is no effort to call Democrats onto the carpet or to call them out. And in fact, when they do, they often respond with shock because they expect the complicit media to just platform what they do right and ignore everything they do wrong. Whereas with Donald Trump, it's very much the opposite, right? Where every little thing that they can think, and big thing, that he does wrong, they amplify it over and over again. And with every positive, it's absolutely ignored. He mentioned what he did for historically black universities. He actually did a lot for HBCUs that Biden and Obama both did not do, and many President Bush and Clinton and when you listen to some of the coaches who leave HBCUs to go to different campuses, they talk about the facilities just not being what they need to build good teams. When you talk to academics, they talk about not having the resources they need to really convey knowledge to their kids. And Trump addressed some of that. Trump was the only president in our lifetime to implement comprehensive sentencing reform for people in the failed drug war. But conversely, he's also said a bunch of hateful things. I think the way he goes back at people and his willingness to engage with the free press contradicts the idea that he threatens the free press, right? I think he's the only president in recent history who has been willing to have conversations with journalists who clearly hate them. Obama and Biden very much limited access. I think he made
Charles,
some very good points.
Let me say this. I am not a Democrat or a Republican. I've always said on this show, facts, then I am a registered independent. I've been that since 2000. So I don't have a dog in the hunt for Kamala Harris or Donald Trump.
Okay.
But let's speak about the facts. You're right. He did give money to HBCUs that President Obama and the Biden administration did not do, and the Biden administration still has not done to this very moment.
And he never get applauded for it at that convention, ever.
Secondly, Kamala Harris turned down the invitation to the same convention.
Right.
She wouldn't attend.
Right.
Every Republican, according to what I've read, every major Republican figure, political figure and donor told him not to go. But Donald Trump went ahead and went. Donald Trump went to the Bronx. He went to other communities of color in New York and one other place. Republicans have always said this about black people in the last 40 years. Never go present your platform to the black community. You're wasting your time. If you go, they're not going to respect you. You're not going to be safe.
Well, he was
so
disrespected.
Republicans have painted the black community as non-existent and irrelevant. Don't ignore them like they don't exist. The fact that he came when everybody said he should not come, and he still came, he should be given credit for that. Because when he went against his own friends and supporters saying that they're going to mistreat you, and he still went, you got to salute that. What I don't like is this, though. Trump needs to stop talking about Kamala Harris's being black or Indian. That's a waste of your time, Mr. Harris. You got enough black folk having a discussion right now on their own. They don't need Trump's help or support in that. Trump needs to fight Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris needs to fight Donald Trump on the issues that affect the American people. Talk about food inflation. Talk about what's happening in the Middle East with Israel now just assassinating in a whole nother foreign country in Iran, Hamas's leader.
Good for them.
And killed him there without international permission.
Great job.
Let's talk about what's happening in America with gas prices. Have you seen the prices in California? It's unreal. People can't put groceries on the table. They can't put gas in the car. They're worried about crime. Fight on the issues. Stop with the personal attacks, both Harris and Donald Trump, because the American people deserve better. And Sister Kamala Harris, she too, she's black when she's among black people, very black. You'll see her dancing with us, going to soul food restaurants when it's an election year. She's Indian when she's among the Indian community. And so she loves being both. Well, most of us as black people, we can't straddle the fence and be both. We have to be who we are. So let's just fight on the issues that affect the American people and let both candidates talk about what's going to make this nation better, because the personal tax is not going to benefit any of us.
But I'll tell you, I think faulting Kamala Harris for being biracial, divorced parents, different homes, is stupid. And in fact, I think we have the clip that's getting the most viral attention. Matt, can we play, because we talked about what Trump did right at the beginning, but let's talk about what he did wrong, and I think you touched on it. Matt, can we see the clip where he is attacking Kamala's ethnic heritage?
She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't.
Now, I will tell you, Kamala Harris, HBCU undergrad, historically black college, Alpha Kappa Alpha. I don't think there was ever a period in her life where she just said, I'm just Indian or I'm just black. There are some quotes where she said she identified as Indian, but she's clearly, what I find most disturbing, and what the Republicans are, why the Republicans are going to lose this election is because they have decided that instead of talking about policies that you suggest, they are demonizing her for her sexual history. Everyone has a sexual history, right? And she had a much older married boyfriend, but that was a long time ago, and it doesn't at all matter to policies today. And then they're demonizing her over her race. They're using coded language as a dog whistle for racism, as opposed to just talking about her support of 70 to 80% tax rates, her talk about using an executive order for gun control, her issues with the border. Like she's talking about now, in my first 100 days, I'm going to do this. Kamala, why haven't y'all done anything in 4 years?
But here's the problem,
But
Charles.
the Republicans are too focused on racism and sexism.
Stick to the issues.
Yeah, but they're not going to. They're not going to.
According to the Biden administration, they chose her to be the border czar. We all know she failed horribly
now they're
the
saying
border.
they didn't. And the complicit
And
media
then
are
she
in bed with
embarrassed
them saying,
herself.
oh, no.
She embarrassed herself in an interview claiming that she hadn't even been to the border.
Right, well, she got a tough question from Lester Holt she didn't expect.
But I'm going to say this to black people. When she was asked by a very intelligent young African-American female reporter in an interview, would you do anything that would specifically help black people if you become president?
She gave a great answer to that question.
When she was running in 2020.
Great answer to that question.
In 2020. Her answer to that question said no. I would not do anything that just specifically only benefit black people.
It was a great answer.
That was a wrong as hell question. Well, first of all,
the question was wrong.
The answer was right. The answer was wrong as hell. The question was right, but the answer was wrong as hell. Let me tell you why.
Absolutely not.
America passed bills strictly benefiting the LGBT community.
Oh my God.
You damn right they have. America passed bills strictly benefiting Asians when they were put in internment camps in America by the United States government. America passed bills strictly benefiting the indigenous community because of what happened to them in a genocide that took place in America. America passed bills strictly to benefit others. But you gonna say you won't do it to benefit black people, but that same party that you are part of has done that to benefit the LGBT community, and they passed bills to strictly benefit Ukraine, strictly benefit Israel in their war against Hamas. But you as a black woman gonna tell us that you will not do anything specifically to benefit us, but you've done it with your party for every damn body else? Hell no.
What Kamala Harris said, and now I remember that question, and that's when she was running for the White House in the crowded primary that Biden ended up winning. And, you know, when you're running in a primary, you're trying to speak, this is a democracy, you're speaking to everybody. She goes, I want to find solutions for all Americans. And it was a great answer. I think she often gives very dumb answers. That was not one of them. She had a great answer. I disagree with some of her policies. I disagree with some of Trump's policies, but Trump's going to lose.
But how can she say that?
Trump's going to lose this election.
When we have passed bills strictly to benefit other groups.
I get your point.
Have we not done that?
I get that all you want to do is talk, much like Donald Trump,
Charles,
all you want to do is talk about
have we not in this country
politics.
passed bills to specifically benefit certain groups?
Okay, you want me to answer?
Yes or no?
Okay, no.
That's a damn lie. You claim affirmative action, and DEI was passed to benefit black people.
Can I finish? Can I talk? Okay. When you talk groups, you're talking groups of immutable characteristics, right? When people were paid for being put into intern camps, the people who were paid weren't just Japanese people being paid; they were people that were interned, right? That's very, very different, right? You have this falsity.
What about the gay bills? What about the gay bills?
What gay bills?
That strictly benefits.
What gay bills?
Hold on.
What gay bills?
I'll tell you.
Come on.
When they passed the don't ask, don't tell policy in the United States military to allow gays to serve openly. Hold on. Let me finish. When Obama recognized allowing no more civil unions, but to allow gays to become married and recognize them as a marriage partnership, and they had the same benefits, that was specifically to benefit gay same-sex couples. Charles, when America gave money to Ukraine, that was strictly to benefit the Ukrainian people.
Let's stay on the gay thing, okay? All right, so your first argument is that when the military decided we're going to stop throwing people out for being gay, we're going to stop actively discriminating against gay people in the military, which never made sense because, of course, it was a gay man.
I didn't say it was a right.
Hold on.
I'm saying they passed a bill to specifically benefit them.
Because it was a gay man that broke the Nazis' code and saved the world
but
from World War II.
What does that got to do with them doing it specifically to benefit certain groups?
Because
they did it.
Gay people were being thrown out of the military and prosecuted for being gay, and they fixed that problem. That's not a gay bill.
And gay black people were being treated worse.
Hold on.
And gay black folks were being treated worse.
Now, you want to talk about marriage. No, marriage had to go all the way to the United States Supreme Court, who said this is an affront to our Constitution, they should be allowed to be married, and it used the same math that caused the miscegenation statutes in Loving versus Virginia that were overturned because they
and
were
Obama
evil.
stepped way out there in supporting of the LGBT community, and they passed
Obama
bills to benefit them.
Obama initially was actually against
how in the
gay
hell
marriage.
can we accept that as black people?
The Clintons and the Obamas were both against gay marriage and evolved on the issue. I've always been very pro individual liberty, including gay marriage. But both your examples
would you not agree
made no sense.
that America has passed bills to benefit certain groups?
They ended discrimination.
Oh, stop.
And one wasn't a bill.
That's not the question.
No, the answer is no.
We didn't pass a bill.
Those were false equivalencies.
So no bill has ever been passed to benefit the indigenous Americans.
I'm going to be a homophobe and I'm going to attack
So no
Kamala.
bill has ever been passed to support the indigenous Americans.
Well, to respond
yes
to
or no?
discrimination. And
yes or no?
You don't think there have been bills?
Was the bill passed, yes or no?
You don't think there have been bills passed?
So how in the hell can we support any politician, in particular black one, who's willing to do it for everybody else but not for us?
What do you think the Civil Rights Acts were about? What do you think
Who's
all
that
the
for?
effort to end Jim Crow was
Affirmative
about?
action
So by your
did
math,
not benefit black people.
By your
the
math,
number one benefactors of affirmative action were
by
white
your
females.
math,
White females benefited more from affirmative action than any black person.
Using your math, when the federal government ended Jim Crow, that would somehow not be to end evil. It would have been a benefit. I mean, the whole math is just, we're supposed to be talking about Kamala.
We are talking about Kamala.
No, you're just talking nonsense.
She won't do it for us, but do it for others. I disagree with that.
I keep seeing the Megan Thee Stallion TikToks from that concert, and I am still scratching my head. Are we living in the Twilight Zone, or what? Having Megan Thee Stallion twerk is not going to fix our economy, and it's not going to stop the legal immigrants from flooding this country. But now Kamala is promising to fix the border that she has never even visited. She's in the White House right now. So if she wanted to do something about the border, she could. She's in a position to do so. I don't know if y'all are taking suggestions, but I have one. Why don't y'all go down to the border, put a concert on down there, maybe then you can raise enough money to finish rebuilding the wall. This is literally the worst border crisis in American history. Last thing I want to say is this. Please do not allow yourself to be influenced by gender, skin color, party, or ideology.
In this round, here's Quanell X.
Charles, we just watched a video of an African-American woman who was speaking about Kamala Harris and speaking about, in particular, a celebration that they had at one of Kamala Harris's events that was attended in a performance by Megan Thee Stallion. She was speaking about the border crisis, and she believes Kamala Harris and the Biden administration failure in that crisis, and how Kamala Harris was appointed supposedly as the border czar by Biden, but didn't even go to the border and absolutely did not fix it. The points that she brought up were very valid points. There's a generation of black youth that have come into existence and young black adults now who do not want to be spoon-fed buffoonery, ignorance, or that which is not in the best interest of the black community politically. We're tired of seeing political events where politicians play music instruments on stage. Politicians find black entertainment figures to get on stage like our sister Megan Thee Stallion was, twerking on stage. So what it says subtly to us and the broader world, all you got to do to get the black vote is go buy some fried chicken, stop by Grandmama Soul Food's restaurant and have a bite with them, kiss some babies, take some pictures, get some strawberry soda, or if you get an entertainer, get on stage and twerk your ass on stage, shake your behind, and you got the black vote. Black people are now calling out and asking for more substance for the masses of our people in the representation of politicians who come seeking our vote. For too many generations in the black community, Democratic politicians in particular, very, very few Republicans here and there, but mainly Democrats, have not had to earn the black vote. We have just given it to them. And they come to entertain us instead of truly engaging us about their platforms.
See, I disagree. So you're talking about the Atlanta event, the very well-attended Atlanta event, kickoff event really for Kamala Harris that she opted to do instead of attending the National Association of Black Journalists. And she did have Megan, a local Houston performer of some note, perform. But Kamala Harris wanted a high energy event, and she wanted it to be well attended because, of course, Biden's had a handful of people compared to the big events that Trump has. So they brought out a high energy event. I don't think that's a fair criticism because also you have Republican events that have, Kid Rock comes out, a number of conservative celebrities and musicians. I forget.
But are they on stage twerking and shaking their ass?
Well, I mean, I don't think Kid Rock's
Let's keep
on
it
stage,
real,
but he
man.
most certainly
Let's
singing.
keep it real, brother.
Yeah, she was performing, right? And the goal was to increase and energize attendance. I agree with you that I would much rather see the focus be on policies. But
so you energize black folk to get out to vote by having black entertainment figures get on stage and twerk their behinds.
Okay, but
that's what's used to excite us.
They will have white conservative celebrities show up at these big rallies for Trump and other people that also are engaged in performing
and you know what they do?
Music and
they show up waving them American flags, hollering "Make America Great Again," and we know what that really means.
What does it mean?
But still,
what does it mean?
Make America Great Again? Yeah. Take America back to where it used to be. And we know what that was.
I mean, if we could take it back to the 90s, that'd be great. Let me say
this, man. We in the African-American community have been played by a specific political party for far too long. And the young generation now and the young adults in the black community, they're not the same as the mothers and fathers. They are going away from those traditions till you just take the black vote and don't earn it. That day is over with now, Charles. Look, Donald Trump, they say may receive up to 20 to 30% of the black male vote. Man, that's shocking.
I don't think it'll happen now that
Kamala's shocking,
I don't think now that Kamala's in the race, compounded by the fact that the focus of so many Republicans right now, both actual politicians, both members of the party, and just walking around everyday Republicans, the focus being so heavily on her ethnic identity and her sexual history, I think is going to push reasonable voters to overlook some of her bad policies and say, hey, I'm not going to go with this crazy, because people are tired of the identity politics. Now, Republicans are being energized by it, but they're voting for Trump anyway. And when you are post-primary election
the fight is over the independent vote.
And they're not.
The fight is over the independent vote.
They're just saying ugly stuff. And I actually had a conversation with a Republican the other day who was convinced that Kamala's mother was Indian and father was a white Jamaican because she does have like a great-great-grandfather who was a white slave owner, right? But her father, a radical communist, very African, Afro-Caribbean appearing black Jamaican. And there's so much weird conversation. She was raised by a black man and an Indian woman.
Let me share something with you.
While
Kamala Harris is celebrating her Indian heritage,
all right,
I want to ask black people, do your research on the Indian Hindu caste system. Kamala Harris's mother and Indian side of the family are Hindus. Do your research on the Indian Hindu caste system. Let me finish. Have you researched the Hindu caste system?
It's horrible.
And what is the caste system based on?
Well, it's based on finding a reason
based on
to
skin color, to demonize a certain skin color of people.
Well, there's
in India, black people, black Indians can't even be touched when they exchange money or even shake hands with them if you're a light-skinned Indian, because the black ones are considered the untouchables.
Well, the caste system is
do the research on the Indians and the untouchables, where like black folk are considered the untouchables.
You have colorism.
So the hell with celebrating her Indian heritage when her Indian heritage has demonized black people. Do your research.
First of all, you can't speak holistically about Indian people.
Oh, yes, I can.
Just like you can't speak
to the black Indians in India.
Look, man.
And they will tell you of the awful mistreatment of black people in India.
Let's go get some chicken vindaloo. And let's have some naan. And let's talk. Let's break
bread. I would like some grilled black and salmon.
Bread.
How about some black and salmon?
Yeah, sometimes I'm shocked at my opponent's willingness to condemn entire categories of immutable characteristics and racial demographics, because I think that is racism and bigotry and awful. You're not going to get it from me. I think the racism and misogyny that is being directed at Kamala Harris by so many Republicans is short-sighted and stupid and equally awful. I also have a problem with Democrats who treat every criticism of Kamala Harris or the press secretary, Jean-Pierre, oh, well, this is sexism or this is racism. If you are holding an office or like vice president, or you're running for office like the executive, like the presidency, you're going to get criticized. That's part of the game. People say horrible stuff about Donald Trump all the time, and people don't go, oh, you must be a racist, or you must hate men. No, you just hate Donald Trump, or you don't like his policies. Same thing with Kamala. Let's get back to policies.
Brothers and sisters, I want to encourage you. Do your research on the Hindu-Indian caste system in India, where her family originated from. Her mother's Hindu, the Indian side of her family is Hindu. Look at the awful, shameful, ratchet history of their policies against dark-skinned black Indians. They literally hate and despise black-skinned people in India that are Indian themselves. A dark-skinned black person cannot even be a teacher in India. A black-skinned dark person can't sit on the jury in India. A black-skinned dark person is not even allowed to hold certain political offices in India. And in India, a black-skinned dark person cannot even be married in the court system to a light-skinned white Indian. Do your history on the Hindu caste system while we're promoting her Indian heritage.
That's it for the Face-Off on Fox Soul. We'll catch you next time.